Hey, welcome back to another week's episode. This week, I'm taking you to a place called Nevi Samuel. It's a very special place, and I hope you enjoy it. I'm sitting right here, and behind me is the spring of Hannah. And we know the story of Hannah where she prayed. But she didn't pray here. She prayed at the doorstep, at the doorpost of the tabernacle in Shiloh, which you can see that video in the Shiloh video we did. And so she prayed as a barren woman to be able to have a child. And then she was given Samuel. So a lot of barren religious women come to this place right here today and pray to be able to have a child. Nevi Samuel in Hebrew means the prophet Samuel. This is the place where his tomb is, Samuel's tomb, and he's buried here. And it's just west of the beautiful city of Jerusalem. From right here, by the way, is one of the most beautiful views you can get from the city of Jerusalem. If you was an ancient traveler back in the days, traveling your way towards Jerusalem, there's a very good chance that you had stopped right here at the tomb of Samuel. This hill was commonly referred to by the Christian pilgrims as the Hill of Joy. And that's why the Crusaders built a church here in the 12th century. So this was a Crusaders church?
Yes.
Like we said, the only reason it survived is because the Muslims turned it into a mosque. And now this is still a church. And on the other side, they turned it into a synagogue. Up at the top is the minaret and it's still here. So Ola and the kids are going up.
Yes.
Well, Ola, it's not very often as a Jewish person have you been on top of a Muslim minaret.
Yeah.
The reason they called it the Hill of Joy is because this is the spot where they would have seen Jerusalem for the very first time on their travels on the way to Jerusalem. They would have come up here at this hilltop and then seen this beautiful view of Jerusalem for the very first time. So this vantage point would have been the very first look early Christians had of the city of Jerusalem. The prophet Samuel was mentioned in the Bible as one of the prominent spiritual leaders of the Jewish people, of the Israelites. This is why this spot is so sacred to the Jews and to the Christians. Nevi Samuel is really a fascinating sight. Here we have layers of civilization, and many wars happened here. We're about 900 meters above sea level, and it's one of the highest mountains in the Jerusalem area. You can see this is a high ground, and so in the past it would have made it a strategically important place to be. And then later on it became very holy and sacred because many stories of the Bible happened right here. One of the main stories is this is where the prophet Samuel was buried. That's why it's called the prophet Samuel. The name of this place is the prophet Samuel. Tradition also says this hilltop is the spot of where the city of Mitzpe was, which is mentioned in the Bible as well. This is exactly where Samuel anointed Saul as king, a scene described in Samuel 1, chapter 10, verse 1. And it says, "Then Samuel took a vial of oil and poured it upon his head and kissed him and said, 'Is it not because the Lord hath anointed thee to be captain over his inheritance?'" So this is also the place where the Israelites came to Samuel to ask for a king. And we know the story how he told them, you really don't want a king. He'll tax you, and he'll take your best wines, and he'll take your sons to war, and all the things, so on and so forth, that he had said to the Israelites. God told Samuel, as we know, it's not you they're rejecting, it's me. So let them have their king. So here also Samuel anointed King Saul, right here. So after Samuel anointed Saul, this is where he gathered all the tribes of Israel, and he said, "I have found you a king." And the Bible tells us what he had said in that speech to all the tribes of Israel. He said, "Do you see the one that the Lord has chosen? There is none like him among all the people." And then all the people claimed him by shouting, "Long live the king." This site's connected to another king, to another Jewish leader, and that's King Solomon. When King Solomon had just inherited his kingdom from his father David, he had decided he's going to have a big sacrifice to the Lord. He came to this place right here, looking over the valley of Gibeon, and he sees this altar here. And on this very altar, he sacrificed 1,000 burnt offerings. This is the exact altar right here where King Saul gave up 1,000 offerings. Man, I tell you what, it really is something to be here. I wish you was here with me. But this place is something else. So the Lord asked Solomon, "What do you want?" And Solomon replied by saying, "I want wisdom." You can still see here the different layers of civilization. You can find here ruins from all the way back to the first temple and the second temple. There was also a lot of activity here during the Byzantine era, and this place played a significant role in the Crusader area. This church that the Crusaders had built is only one of 4 churches that survived since then in the state of Israel. The reason it survived is because the Muslims had turned it into a mosque. As you can see, the minaret on top of it right now. So that's that's the only reason why it survived. So this was originally a church built by the Crusaders. Well, what it's like being here where Samuel anointed King Saul and where Saul did the sacrifice of 1,000 offerings.
It's just amazing, all these ancient places.
They still play at the minaret here, the Arab prayer.
They're calling for prayer.
Yep. Wow. Heard that prayer so many times in the military. I know it by heart in Arabic. This is a very special place with biblical history, and I really have enjoyed making this one. So until next week, God bless.